Welcome to this video. In this video, we will discuss on the merits and demerits of transnationalism. Transnationalism describes the growing interdependence and interaction between people and cultures outside the nation states. It involves transnational movement of people, capital, information, and commodities. In fact, it's a complicated social phenomenon. It has several merits as well as demerits. Let's have a look on the merits first. The merits of transnationalism. First is cultural exchange and understanding. Transnationalism, as we have seen, is the interaction in the relationship between groups situated across nations. It encourages communication and understanding among many societies, different or various societies. Interaction between peoples of different origins foster a stronger awareness and bonds. This is much needed in the current world, since globalization is accentuating, is encouraging integration. This kind of interaction between people located different places and belonging to different origins are the necessity or the need of the hour. Transnationalism helps the exchange of culture and it brings about greater understanding between transnational actors. Another merit is economic development. Transnationalism promotes international commerce and trade and investment. It enables companies to expand their markets. Now, companies or factories do not produce for the domestic market alone. Instead, they produce for the international market. Transnational interactions result in the exchange of ideas, knowledge, and technology innovation and technology transfer. It's not only for the exchange of ideas and knowledge, but also for the technology transfer. All these encourage research and development that finally benefit the entire humankind. Another merit of transnationalism is the investment made by diaspora, or we can say diaspora investments. Transnational communities like diasporas make substantial contributions to both home and state host countries. They invest in businesses, send remittances, and serve as channels for social and commercial exchanges, or mediums of social and commercial exchanges. Diasporas, they are engaged in international investments. They invest in businesses, not only in the host country, but in the home countries. They send remittances, they transfer finances, and they connect with the two spaces in promoting social and commercial exchanges, also cultural exchanges. Another important merit of transnationalism is global social issues, global economic issues, global political issues. So, resolution of global issues is a major merit of transnationalism. For example, transnationalism helps addressing the global issues like terrorism, pandemic, climatic change, because these are issues that have wider ramifications. They are not confined within a national boundary, but it has reflections across the globe. Terrorism, pandemics, climatic change, all these require international cooperation for better resolution. So, solutions to such issues are more effective when different nations come together, join together. So transnationalism helps solving such kind of grave global issues. Another merit is greater access to goods and services. That's the one of the most visible effects of transnationalism. Due to the benefit of transnationalism, people now can access a wider variety of goods and services from across the globe. This goods and services helps greatly to improve the quality of life of the people, the consumption level of the people. In this way, the people across the globe, including those from the global north and global south, they are having greater access to goods and services. Transnationalism is not without any demerits. It has several demerits as well. Because this interconnectivity may have some unintended consequences, or they may negatively affect many countries. First is increased interdependence. Transnationalism results in increasing interdependence between the transnational actors and between the transnational communities, between nations. This may, the greater interaction, the greater interdependence between nationalities, nations, may sometimes result in loss of sovereignty of particular countries or some countries. This happens when they are forced to work together and make decisions that have negative impact on their own policies and decision making. Sometimes when the countries are in a pressure to make some decisions for the wider interest of the global population or the global community, they may have to compromise on their own policies, their own interest, their own decision-making power, their own internal matters. So the dependent or less powerful nations may sometimes feel negatively affected. So the lesser powerful countries may sometimes feel that they have to compromise. Though international trade fosters economic development, it makes nations dependent on particular products, services, or markets. At the very same time, the international trade usually fosters international economic development, international economic interdependence, but sometimes they may act against the interest of the dependent states, because some nations may have to depend on other nations for particular products or particular services or particular markets. It also makes them susceptible to changes in the world economy. When the world economy changes, that may be negatively affecting some countries at least, especially the poor and developing countries. Another demerit is cultural homogeneity or cultural homogenization. Transnationalism always or usually lead to cultural homogenization. This happens especially when some global cultures predominate. So when the cultural domination happens, usually the culture of the dominant countries become the dominant cultures. And these cultures predominate in the cultural sphere across the globe, of the global communities. When this happens, the local traditions, local languages may be severely affected. That will eventually lead to the cultural homogenization and loss of variety, loss of indigenous culture. Another demerit is labor exploitation. In some places where rules may be loose, transnationalism can lead to exploitation of workers. If the protective norms are not stipulated well, it will lead to exploitation of workers or laborers. And this labor is mostly in a transnational society. This labor is usually supplied by developing or poor countries. So it is the people from the poor countries, they may have poor working conditions and low salaries. After all, they are being exploited by the forces of transnationalism. Another demerit is brain drain. This is also a serious issue faced by the developing economies. Due to some reasons, the developing nations experience brain drain because these nations are not able to offer lucrative positions for the people who are better educated or better competent. So such kind of people from the poor and developing countries may easily leave their own countries and take opportunities in the host countries, that is usually rich or developed countries. So the brains that could be used that could have been used for the benefit of the development of the host countries or the poor host countries are benefited by the developed and rich countries. This will retard the development and growth of the poor countries. Another issue, demerit, is the security problems. While the international collaborations help tackling global issues, it spreads illegal operations also, like terrorism, drug trafficking, human trafficking, etc. So transnationalism, in a sense, all this may be the unintended consequence of transnationalism. But this also happens along with the merits of. And another demerit is uneven benefit. Transnationalism is beneficial to the international community or the transnational actors or all the countries. But these benefits are not distributed evenly. There's unequal benefits these countries have. These countries benefits unequally. The international relationships may not be equally advantageous to all the parties. While some nations or communities have advantages, others definitely have disadvantages. Though transnationalism has the potential to benefit the world, it presents difficulties that need to be managed carefully. So, we can conclude that transnationalism emphasizes interconnectedness and cooperation across national boundaries, which results in a paradigm shift in the globally connected world. The scope of transnationalism includes the major aspects of human existence. They include migration, economic activity, cultural interaction, and technological connectivity. Transnationalism is important to promote diversity, inclusive global ties, and collaborative problem solving. However, it has several demerits. It results in cultural homogenization, meaning that many indigenous cultures are lost at the cost of the global cultures. They become subservient to several forces. There is rampant interdependence of poor countries on the rich countries. There is serious labor exploitation. There is the issue of brain drain. There is several security issues, global security issues, and there is unequal distribution of benefits of transnationalism.